The massive alien ship hovered above Earth, casting shadows over Sol as it blocked the sun. Inside the command center, Admiral Toole stood tall, his 12-foot reptilian frame towering over his officers. His scales gleamed under the ship's lights as he studied the reports about the tiny planet below. "These humans are so small," Admiral Toole said, looking at the images of Earth's inhabitants. "Most barely reach 5 or 6 feet. They have no natural defenses. No claws, no armor, just soft skin." His second-in-command, Officer Rock, nodded in agreement. "Their bones break easily, too. The gravity on their planet is weak compared to ours." Admiral Toole made a rumbling sound in his throat, a sign of dismissal among his kind. "Are we sure they even built those cities we see? Perhaps they are just clever animals." The Galactic Confederation had discovered many species across the stars, but they were all impressive in some way. Some were massive like the Vrexians, others had natural armor like the Tulans, and some could breathe fire like the Morans. Humans seemed to have nothing special. "We should send a small team to meet them," suggested Officer Rock. "If they are intelligent, we can add them to the Confederation as a protected species." Admiral Toole agreed. "Prepare the diplomatic shuttle. I want to see these creatures up close." 3 days later, the shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. The diplomatic team consisted of 5 representatives from different Confederation species. The smallest was 8 feet tall, and the largest, Admiral Toole himself, stood at 12 feet. They landed in a large open space in Sol, where humans had cleared an area for their arrival. As the shuttle doors opened, Admiral Toole was surprised to see thousands of humans gathered at a safe distance, watching with curiosity rather than fear. A small group of humans approached the shuttle. They wore blue uniforms with silver badges. Their leader stepped forward, a male human with short black hair who appeared calm despite standing before aliens who could crush him with one hand. "Welcome to Earth. I am Captain Min of the United Earth Defense Force," he said, looking up at the towering aliens. "We are honored by your visit." Admiral Toole bent down to better see the tiny human. "You are not afraid of us?" Captain Min smiled, slightly. "We have been watching your ship since it entered our solar system. If you meant harm, you would have attacked already." This surprised Admiral Toole. Their cloaking technology should have hidden their approach. Somehow these tiny humans had detected them. "We represent the Galactic Confederation," Admiral Toole said. "We have come to evaluate your species for potential membership." Captain Min nodded. "Then let us show you what humans have built." The aliens followed the human delegation into the city. They had to duck under doorways and carefully maneuver through spaces designed for much smaller beings. What they saw amazed them. Despite their size, humans had built impressive structures. Their technology was more advanced than the preliminary scans had suggested. They had computers, vehicles, and even early space travel capabilities. "How do you build such things with your small hands?" Officer Rock asked a human engineer named Jin. Jin laughed. "We find ways. Being small has advantages. We can work in tight spaces and create detailed components." As night fell, the humans hosted a welcome dinner. The aliens watched in surprise as the tiny humans moved efficiently, carrying objects many times their weight, working together with remarkable coordination. During the meal, Admiral Toole observed something else strange. The humans ate plants and animals from their world that contained compounds toxic to most Confederation species. Their bodies could process these toxins without harm. "Your digestive systems are quite remarkable," Admiral Toole commented to Captain Min. "We have evolved to eat many different things," Captain Min explained. "It helps us survive in different environments." Later that night, as the diplomatic team returned to their shuttle, Admiral Toole was quiet. Officer Rock approached him. "What are you thinking, Admiral?" "These humans are unusual," Admiral Toole said slowly. "They detected our approach when they shouldn't have been able to. They build complex things despite their size. They eat things that would kill us." He looked back at the city lights sparkling in the distance. "I think we may have misjudged them based on their appearance." In his private log that night, Admiral Toole recorded, "The humans appear small and weak, but there is something about them that makes me uneasy. They look at us not with fear but with curiosity and calculation. I suspect there is more to these tiny creatures than we first thought. The Confederation Council will need to reconsider their classification. Outside the shuttle, unseen by the aliens, Captain Min watched the vessel with thoughtful eyes. Tomorrow, he would show the visitors the true capabilities of humanity. 6 months passed since first contact with the alien Confederation. The massive council chamber of the Confederation's central station floated in space near a giant red star. Huge aliens from 20 different worlds sat in large seats designed for their enormous bodies. In one corner, on a raised platform so they could see, sat the human delegation. Captain Sun led the 5-person human team. She was tall for a human at 6 feet, but still looked like a child next to the smallest council member. The humans wore special suits to help them breathe in the heavy atmosphere the larger aliens preferred. The human application for full membership has been reviewed, announced Head Counselor Grav, a gray-skinned giant with 4 arms. Based on their physical limitations, we offer them protected status only. They may serve in support roles appropriate for their size. Captain Sun stood up. Even on the raised platform, she barely reached the height of the seated aliens. With respect, Counselor, we request full membership rights. A rumble of laughter moved through the chamber. Many counselors didn't even try to hide their amusement. Little one, said Counselor Vex, a reptilian being with glittering scales. Full members must contribute to Confederation defense. Your species is simply too fragile. Captain Sun remained calm. We understand your concerns. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves. After much debate, the Council agreed to a probationary period. The humans would be assigned to the central station, where they would perform basic maintenance tasks while the Council evaluated their usefulness. The human team was given tiny quarters near the maintenance section. The ceilings were uncomfortably high and everything was built for beings twice their size. They think we're pets, grumbled Officer Park as they unpacked their belongings. Did you see how that blue alien patted me on the head? Captain Sun smiled. Let them underestimate us. It may work to our advantage. For weeks, the humans performed the simple tasks they were assigned. They cleaned areas too small for the larger aliens to reach. They fixed minor systems that the Confederation engineers considered beneath their attention. All the while, they observed and learned. Captain Sun noticed that many systems on the station were inefficient. The larger aliens had built everything to match their size, including computers with buttons too big for precise control. At night, in their quarters, the humans designed smaller, more efficient versions of many station systems. When Captain Sun presented these designs to her supervisor, the giant alien laughed. Tiny improvements for tiny beings, he said dismissively. But he allowed them to implement some changes in non-critical systems. 3 months into their probation, disaster struck. During a routine adjustment to the station's power core, something went wrong. Alarms blared throughout the station. Core breach imminent, announced the station's computer. Evacuation recommended. Panic spread through the station. The massive aliens rushed toward the escape pods, creating dangerous crushes in the corridors. Captain Sun gathered her team. The issue is in the secondary cooling system, she said, reading the diagnostic panel. If we don't fix it, the station will explode, and the radiation will affect the nearby colony world. The access tunnels to the cooling system are too small for the Confederation engineers, Officer Park pointed out. They were designed for maintenance drones, but those were removed to save costs. Then we go, Captain Sun decided. The human team raced through the station, moving easily through spaces the larger aliens couldn't enter. They reached the maintenance access, a tunnel barely 3 feet wide, perfect size for us, Officer Park said with a grim smile. The humans crawled through the narrow tunnels, reaching the cooling system control room. It was hot enough to burn their skin, and radiation warnings flashed on their suits. They worked, quickly, their small fingers making precise adjustments the larger aliens could never manage. Rerouting coolant flow, reported Officer J, her hands moving rapidly over the controls. Patching the leak, added Officer Park. With seconds to spare, they stabilized the system. The alarms stopped. The core breach was prevented. When they emerged from the access tunnels covered in coolant fluid and with their radiation badges glowing yellow from exposure, they found a crowd of Confederation officials waiting for them. Head, Counselor Grav stepped forward, looking down at the small, dirty humans. For once, there was no condescension in his 4 eyes. "You saved the station," he said. "And the colony world." Captain Sun stood straight despite her exhaustion. "This is what humans do. We adapt. We solve problems. We may be small, but we are not weak." That evening, the Confederation Council held an emergency session. The humans were not invited, but Officer Kang, who had been cleaning air vents near the council chamber, overheard the discussion. "They accessed spaces we cannot reach," one counselor was saying. "They made repairs our fingers are too large to perform." "Perhaps," said another voice, "we have been judging them by the wrong standards." When Officer Kang reported this to Captain Sun, she smiled. "Good. Now they're beginning to see." In his private quarters, Head Counselor Grav recorded in the official log, "The humans have proven unexpectedly valuable. Their small size, which we saw as a weakness, allowed them to save this station when our engineers could not. I recommend immediate reassessment of their status within the Confederation." The emergency alarms blared throughout the Confederation, Central Command. Red lights flashed as giant aliens rushed to their battle stations. On the main screen, enemy ships appeared as red dots, moving quickly toward Confederation space. "The Drekar have broken through our outer defenses," announced Admiral Vex, his scaled face grim. 3 colony worlds have already fallen. The Drekar were feared across the galaxy, nearly as large as the Confederation species but faster and more aggressive. They had been pushing at the borders for years. Now they had launched a full invasion. Captain Sun and her human team stood at the back of the command center, almost forgotten in the crisis. They watched as the massive Confederation warships moved to intercept the Drekar fleet. "Our battleships are stronger," said Officer Park quietly. "But the Drekar ships are faster." On the screen, they watched the battle unfold. The huge Confederation ships fired powerful weapons, but the Drekar vessels darted around them, attacking from multiple angles. One by one, the Confederation ships were damaged or destroyed. "We're losing," muttered a nearby officer. After 3 days of constant defeats, the Confederation Council called an emergency meeting. For the first time, the humans were invited to attend not as servants, but as potential advisors. "Our traditional battle tactics are failing," admitted Head Counselor Grav. His 4 arms were crossed in frustration. "The Drekar know our ships are powerful but slow." Captain Sun stepped forward. "If I may speak, Counselor." The room fell silent as all eyes turned to the small human. Many of the council members still viewed humans as barely more than clever pets. "Humans have fought wars against each other for thousands of years," Captain Sun said. "Often, smaller forces defeated larger ones through speed and surprise." She walked to the battle display and pointed at the Drekar formation. "The Drekar are using hit-and-run tactics. Your ships are trying to fight a direct battle they cannot win." "What do you suggest, human?" asked Admiral Vex with a hint of mockery in his voice. "Let us help," Captain Sun replied simply. "Human ships are smaller than yours. We have been developing our own fleet based on Confederation technology, but built to human scale." After much debate, the Council reluctantly agreed. They had few options left. 3 days later, 20 human ships arrived at the front lines. They were tiny compared to the Confederation vessels, each crewed by only 30 humans. The Confederation commanders looked at them with doubt. "These are supposed to save us?" one officer muttered. The answer came swiftly. When the Drekar attacked the next Confederation outpost, the human ships moved to intercept. Instead of trying to match the Drekar in firepower, the human vessels used their small size to their advantage. They darted between asteroid fields where larger ships couldn't follow. They flew in tight formations, changing direction with lightning speed. In the command center, the Confederation officers watched in amazement. "How are they moving like that?" asked Admiral Vex. "Human reflexes are faster than most species over short periods," explained Officer J, who had stayed behind to coordinate. And our ships are designed for maneuverability, not raw power. The human fleet split into smaller groups, surrounding Drekar vessels and attacking from multiple angles. When the Drekar tried to escape, the humans predicted their routes and set traps. The tide of battle slowly turned. Working together, the human ships and the larger Confederation vessels began pushing the Drekar back. Then disaster struck. The Drekar launched a surprise attack on the Confederation command station itself. 3 massive Drekar warships appeared from hyperspace and immediately began boarding operations. Inside the station, chaos erupted as Drekar warriors poured in. Standing nearly 9 feet tall with 4 arms and natural armor, they easily overpowered the station's defenders. "We need to reach the central control room," Captain Sun told her team. "If the Drekar capture it, they can use the station's weapons against our fleet." The 5 humans moved through the station using maintenance tunnels and air ducts, paths, too small for the Drekar to follow. They emerged near the control room to find it surrounded by Drekar warriors. "We can't fight them directly," said Officer Park. "They're too strong." Captain Sun nodded. "We won't fight them directly. We'll use what we have." The humans split up. Using their small size, they climbed into ceiling panels and under floor grates. They set up position around the Drekar warriors. "Ready?" Captain Sun's voice came through their communicators. At her signal, they activated the devices they had prepared. Bright flashes and deafening sounds erupted around the Drekar, confusing their senses. The humans dropped from hiding places and darted between the disoriented warriors, placing small explosive charges on their armor joints. When the charges detonated, they didn't kill the Drekar but disabled their armor, making it impossible for them to move properly. Within minutes, the humans had neutralized the threat without directly engaging in combat. They secured the control room and helped coordinate the defense of the station until reinforcements arrived. After the battle, Admiral Vex approached Captain Sun. The massive alien looked down at the human with new respect in his eyes. "You did not defeat them with strength," he said, "but with intelligence and speed." Captain Sun smiled. "Sometimes being small has advantages." That evening, a captured Drekar commander said something that spread quickly throughout the Confederation forces. "Beware the small ones. Their size conceals their deadliness." The large metal door slid open with a hiss as Dr. Mun entered the Confederation science lab. The tall, blue-skinned alien scientist ducked under the doorway and moved to his workstation. Several other alien scientists were already gathered around a transparent chamber where a human sat calmly. "Is the subject ready?" Dr. Mun asked. "Yes," replied his assistant. "Officer Gill has volunteered for today's endurance tests." After the war with the Drekar, the Confederation had become intensely curious about humans. How could such small, seemingly fragile creatures be so effective in battle? The Council ordered a complete study of human physiology and capabilities. Officer Gill was a muscular human male who looked tiny inside the chamber designed for much larger species. He wore simple exercise clothes and had sensors attached to his body. "We will begin with basic endurance testing," Dr. Mun announced. "Today we will compare how long different species can maintain physical activity." Representatives from 5 Confederation species joined Officer Gill for the test. Each would run on a treadmill until they could no longer continue. The massive Vrexian warrior went first, running powerfully for 20 minutes before stopping, his breathing heavy. "Impressive," noted Dr. Mun. "The Vrexians are known for their strength." Next came representatives from the Tulans, Krovians, and Mens, each running between 15 and 30 minutes before exhaustion forced them to stop. Finally, it was Officer Gill's turn. He started running at a steady pace. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. The alien scientists checked their instruments, thinking there must be an error. "How is he continuing?" asked one scientist. "His muscles should be failing from lactic acid buildup." "Humans have efficient cooling systems," explained Dr. Mun, studying the data. "They sweat to release heat, and their cardiovascular system adapts to prolonged activity." 2 hours later, Officer Gill was still running. He had slowed his pace but showed no signs of stopping. The alien scientists watched in disbelief. "Enough," Dr. Mun finally said after 3 hours. "This test is concluded. When Officer Gill stepped out of the chamber, he was sweaty, but smiling. "I could have gone longer," he said. "Back on Earth, some humans run for entire days." The next day, the scientists tested pain tolerance. Dr. Moon carefully explained the experiment to Captain Sun. "We will expose volunteers to increasing levels of discomfort to measure pain thresholds," he said. "All completely safe, of course." Captain Sun nodded. "Officer Kang has volunteered." During the test, Officer Kang endured levels of pain that would incapacitate most Confederation species. The scientists were shocked at the readings. "How are you still functioning?" Dr. Moon asked as he stopped the test. Officer Kang shrugged. "Humans can ignore pain when necessary. Our bodies release endorphins to help us continue despite injury." The most surprising incident happened 3 days later during what became known as the coffee situation. In the station's dining area, the human team sat together for their morning meal. They drank dark liquid from cups while chatting casually. Dr. Moon happened to walk by with his scanner. The device began beeping loudly. He checked the readings and gasped. "Security alert," he shouted. "The humans are consuming toxic substances." Station security rushed in as confused aliens backed away from the human table. Captain Sun looked up in surprise. "Is there a problem?" she asked. Dr. Moon pointed at their cups. "That liquid contains high levels of caffeine, a known neurotoxin to most sentient species." Captain Sun smiled. "Oh, that's just coffee. Humans drink it every day. It helps us wake up." The alien scientists ran tests on the coffee and were astounded. The beans contained compounds that would cause heart failure in their species, yet humans drank it for pleasure. "They consume poison for energy," one scientist whispered in horror. The final test came during the station's artificial gravity failure. For 8 hours, all systems were down while repairs took place. The massive aliens struggled in the weightless environment. Their bodies evolved for gravity. The humans, however, adapted quickly. They pushed off walls and floated efficiently through the station, helping others and making repairs. Their smaller bodies required less effort to move in zero gravity. When the tests were complete, Dr. Moon presented his findings to the Confederation Council. "Humans possess remarkable adaptations," he explained. "Their endurance exceeds all known species. They can function despite pain, consume substances toxic to us, and adapt to changing conditions rapidly." He displayed images of human history, showing people surviving in deserts, Arctic regions, mountains, and oceans. "Most importantly," Dr. Moon continued, "humans evolved on a planet with extreme environmental variation. They can live in conditions ranging from near freezing to intensely hot. No other Confederation species has this adaptability." Head Counselor Grav studied the report silently before speaking. "We misjudged them," he admitted. "We saw their size as weakness because we measure strength only in one way." In her quarters that evening, Captain Sun received a message. The Confederation Council had unanimously voted to grant humans full membership status with all rights and privileges. Attached to the message was a personal note from Dr. Moon. "Your species is not weak. You are differently strong in ways we never imagined. The Confederation is fortunate to have such allies." 1 year after humans joined the Confederation as full members, the Great Hall of the Central Station looked very different. The massive chamber now had special platforms and smaller chairs mixed among the giant seats. Humans moved freely among the towering aliens, no longer treated as curiosities but as respected allies. Captain Sun, recently promoted to Admiral, stood before the Confederation Council. Though still tiny compared to the alien leaders, she now commanded attention when she spoke. "The human engineering team has completed the new ship designs," she announced. "By combining our understanding of miniaturization with Confederation power systems, we've created vessels that are both strong and fast." Head Counselor Grav nodded his massive head in approval. "Your people have changed how we think about technology. Smaller does not mean weaker." The new ships represented just one of many changes. Throughout Confederation space, human innovations were improving life for all species. Smaller tools allowed for more precise manufacturing. human-designed computer. Interfaces worked for fingers of all sizes. Medical techniques developed on Earth were saving lives across the galaxy. But not everyone was happy about the humans' rising influence. Some traditional members grumbled about changes happening too quickly. "They're taking over everything," complained one Vrexian official to his colleagues. "Soon they'll want us to make everything human-sized." These tensions might have grown worse if not for what happened next. On an ordinary day, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed as the main screen displayed a strange swirling anomaly in nearby space. "What is it?" demanded Head Counselor Grav as scientists rushed to their stations. The chief scientist, a towering four-armed alien, looked up from her instruments with fear in her eyes. "It appears to be a spatial rift, a tear between dimensions, and it's growing." Scans showed the anomaly was expanding rapidly. Within hours it would threaten the station. Within days it could swallow entire planets. "We must evacuate," suggested one council member. "There's no time to evacuate everyone," countered Admiral Sun. "And the rift will just keep growing. We need to close it." The Confederation's greatest scientific minds gathered to find a solution. They needed to deliver a specific energy pulse directly into the center of the anomaly to seal the rift. But there were two major problems. The ship delivering the pulse must be small enough to maneuver through the anomaly's gravitational eddies, explained the chief scientist. And the energy core generating the pulse is too heavy for any small ship to carry, added another scientist. The room fell silent as everyone realized the impossible situation. Then Admiral Sun spoke up. "What if we work together? A human ship for speed and precision crewed by larger aliens with the strength to manage the energy core manually. It was a dangerous plan. The human ship would need to be modified to fit larger crew members, and the aliens would struggle in the confined space. But they had no choice. Officer Gill volunteered his ship, the Swift Arrow. Engineers worked frantically to remove walls and raise ceilings in critical areas while keeping the ship's outer hull intact for maneuverability. Commander Rock, a massive, reptilian officer who had once looked down on humans, volunteered to handle the energy core. 4 other aliens from different species completed the mixed crew. As they prepared for launch, Commander Rock squeezed his enormous frame into the modified ship. "It's going to be a tight fit," he grumbled. Admiral Sun checked the final preparations. "Remember, neither species could do this alone. We need both your strength and our ship's agility." The Swift Arrow launched toward the growing anomaly. The station watched in tense silence as the small ship approached the swirling mass of energy. Gravitational forces buffeted the vessel, but Officer Gill's skilled piloting kept them on course. Inside, Commander Rock and his team struggled with the heavy energy core in the confined space. Their strength was essential as they made constant adjustments to counter the gravitational forces trying to tear the core apart. "Approaching target point," announced Officer Gill. "Core status?" "Ready," grunted Commander Rock, his muscles straining to hold the energy containment field stable. The Swift Arrow dived into the heart of the anomaly. For a moment, all contact was lost. The station held its collective breath. Then the ship emerged from the other side as the anomaly collapsed behind it. The mission was successful. When they returned to the station, the crew was greeted as heroes. Humans and aliens cheered together. In the celebration that followed, Commander Rock knelt down to speak with Officer Gill. "I once thought your kind was weak," the massive alien admitted. "Now I understand that strength takes many forms." 1 month later, the Confederation officially updated its charter. The new document began with words that would define their civilization for generations to come. All members are valued not by their size, but by their contributions. In the Great Hall, a small human child named Jin visited with her father, a Confederation diplomat. A huge Vrexian official bent down to her level. "Little one," he said with genuine respect, "your people have taught us that the greatest strength comes not from size, but from working together." Jin smiled up at the towering alien, and together, she said, "we can do anything."